All right, welcome to Two Guys Garage. You can see we are jacked up in the air. We are flying high in a giant F-250.
Yeah, this thing is total beast. It's like Gravedigger on a public road, man. And it's got a little to it thing.
That's what comes with big tires, but also a little lack of performance. We lost some gear, but we're gonna gain it back. We're gonna tear the front and rear axles apart. Stick around. Now, it's not every day we have to pull the step ladder out just to work on one of the cars in our shop, but I'm digging it. This thing is cool. This is a 2011 F-250 from Ford. Now, what's awesome is from the factory, this thing's pushing out 735 foot-pounds, almost 400 horsepower. Now, I remember back in the day, 525 out of the old 7.3 was just awesome.
Yeah, man. That's the reason why I bought my 2001 with the 7.3. It had a sticker 525.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
like, you can't beat that. You can't. Look at me, man. I look like that kid you used to draw on the wall.
Oh, man, you need a step ladder too.
Yeah.
Now, these things are cool because this is a brand new engine from Ford, you know, from scratch, all new technologies, all new layout.
Didn't they change the exhaust or something on this, the routing and stuff?
Yeah, so it starts with a compacted graphite iron block, so super stout, but they flipped the way the flow works between the intake and exhaust. So the exhaust actually flows inboard to a valley mounted turbo, and the intake flows outward and, you know, through the intercooler and back through, and really cool layout,
Man,
super powerful.
You can't flip the flow.
You can flip it and you can kick it up. And it's going through a brand new transmission, 6-speed, modern, handles all that power and torque. Now, we've got a few mods in here already. Cold air, exhaust system, there's a tune on it. So it's making a mountain of power. There's also some mods down below.
Yeah, you looks like you're on a mountain. Come down here where us normal people
Let me rappel back down.
Yeah,
man.
right? All right, obviously you notice this truck is way jacked up. It's rolling on some 40s, all right? 40s are huge to have out on the street.
And they look cool.
Yeah, they do, man. Upgraded shocks and everything else on this truck. A lot of bells and whistles, but the thing he didn't do yet was the gearing on it.
Yeah, so you can add a lot of power. You can start with a lot of power.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've got different gear ratios all through the transmission, through the rear end, and your tire size is one of those ratios.
Yeah,
the
man.
diameter of your tire. So if we're changing that, we're going to change some dynamics, where your shift points are,
Yeah, that
your torque
sluggish
curve.
acceleration that you get when you put on bigger tires. We're gonna address all that, walk you through it. So it's gonna be a fun show. And then you think you'll let us take this thing mudding afterwards?
Oh yeah, for sure. So follow us around to the back. We're going to start stripping this thing down, show you the ins and outs, swapping gear. To give you an idea, the size change in tire, this is the stock tire, about 32 inches in diameter. Well, here comes the big mamma jamma. Yeah, the 40. So 40 inches in diameter. Now, for the same axle speed, right? Engine speed, certain gear, I'm traveling down the road. This guy is going to go 100 inches around the outside diameter, outside circumference. This one's going to go 125 for that same single rotation. So I'm going to go further on this tire than this one, which can be good for fuel economy, but I'm going to lose a lot of torque to the ground. So just like this torque wrench, right? You want all the torque to be farther out. Well, this acts like a torque wrench to the ground. This is your center line, right? Your ground is acting at the edge of the tire here. So the bigger the tire diameter, the more resistance to that torque from the inside, right? From the ground. So I can pick up some fuel economy, except the OEs have been doing that already. They're dropping the axles down. So it used to be maybe a 430 stock, 410, 373. This baby came with a 331.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's a really low gear. It's a good fueler. And the only reason you can do it is because the trucks came with such good torque. But once you start dropping even further with tire diameter, man, you're really falling off the cliff. Now you're just not getting the same shifts. You know, you're stepping in a lot harder to try to get that same power you had, you know, with the smaller tires or the bigger gears. So you end up sometimes actually getting worse fuel economy, you know, even though you think you'd get better, because you started somewhere near the edge and now you're falling off. So let me get these guys out of the way here.
Get them out. It's crazy the difference in that, man. Yeah, you have that mark here. Now, when you get to the drive shaft, all right, you definitely got to take the drive shaft off. You want to unbolt it here, but you want to make sure you index your guys right here, leave a good mark because it's a balanced drive shaft. So all these things need to be lined back up. I always like to scribe just a good mark on everything so I know exactly where it goes back into place. And another thing you want to do is always have a place to hang your drive shaft. Here I got a bungee cord. I'll just wrap it around the end of the drive shaft, tuck it up to the tank. That way you won't have that fluid mess coming out of the transmission.
Yeah, and once he's got that drive shaft out, he's got access to the yoke. He can start to pull that assembly out from the front side. I can start to pull the diff out from the back as soon as I remove this cover. Now I'm going to pretty much remove all the bolts on the bottom. I'll leave one hanging at the top. I can break the seal, dump the fluid out. Then once it's kind of drained out, I can pull the cover off, start pulling that diff apart. In here we've got our diff, and if I'm turning the yoke on the front side, the pinion, which is a small cone gear we'll show you in a minute, is driving this big ring gear. And if you look on here, you can already see the wear pattern. So you can see how it's nice and shiny. It's dull here. It's shiny and dull on the far edge. This has got a nice full tooth contact. It's the right depth, and that's what we're going to try to set up when we put our new gears in, but we'll get to that. Now, before I pull this center section out, there's two things that got to happen. We got to pull the axles, and I want to mark my caps. So I'll mark my caps because they're machined in place. They need to go back in the exact same place. And I'm just going to put a little spot there, and I'm going to put one up here on the housing in a good spot that's not a stress location. All right, and then I'm going to put two on this cap. So I can make sure, once again, these go back where they should. Now, on a lot of these, you've got C-clips that have to get pulled before the axles can come out. So there's little C-clips holding the axles. You get in there, you take a bolt out. You can usually get one clip out, pull an axle, get the other clip out. But on this, we've got floaters. So the axles are actually held from the outside. So I'm gonna let my man Willie hook up on that.
Yeah, we have that small tweaking device there, we're commonly referred to as a hammer. So, all right, I've taken this axle flange here, removed all the bolts. Now just a little bit of persuasion here. While you're pulling, there she goes. And this guy will slide right out. And you can kind of see why they call this one a floater. You see these bearings that it's riding on up in here. Kind of cool. So there you go. Now the axles are out. We'll get to business of taking that whole assembly and the inside of the rear end out, open it up, let you guys really get a peek at it.
Now, Seafoam makes it even easier to use Seafoam motor treatment in your engine with Seafoam spray, top engine cleaner, and lube. The included cleaning tube and hook guide sits in the throttle body to clean inside the engine and get rid of deposit buildup from air intake systems, intake valves, and combustion chambers. To treat the engine, just place the cleaning tube in front of the throttle body and replace the air intake boot to hold the cleaning tube in place. Now, run the engine to get it up to operating temperatures. Then raise the idle 1,000 RPM over idle spec and spray the Seafoam directly into the throttle body. You can actually spray Seafoam upside down, which makes this application even easier. This treatment is safe for O2 sensors and catalytic converters, but don't try to use it to clean mass airflow sensors. This tip is brought to you by Seafoam, the choice of mechanics for over 70 years.
All right, welcome back. Still underneath our 2011 F250, doing the ring and pinion gears on this thing. And now just get a little pry. Get this thing out. There you go. Now look, each side of these bearings here have little shims, which we'll get into in just a second. But you want to make sure you keep your shims with your specific side. So that one's mine, Kev.
All right, well, I kept mine.
Yeah.
So you got a shim, and that's going to locate that ring gear this way or this way, which is going to engage the pinion a little bit more or a little bit less. Now we're going to lucky, hopefully, and reuse the exact same ones in the same spot, have the right engagement, but we're going to check that. So next thing we're going to do, pop this pinion out, get the ring gear off this diff, put the new stuff in, and start driving it home.
All right, now we got all our bolts out of our ring gear. Should just take a few taps, right? All right, let's see. So hit around here, and this guy should, there you go, fall right down. Now I can do a little side-by-side comparison with what we got from Nitro Gear and Axle compared to what comes in this truck stock. Now, if you just look at this guy on visual inspection, you'll see the one we got from Nitro Gear a lot thicker, right? A lot heavier duty compared to what came in this guy originally. Now, do a little side-by-side comparison this way. 31 teeth compared to 43 teeth. Now, what that's gonna do is raise our RPM up to a point in the motor where it's comfortable, it likes it. It's got a lot of pedal feel, a lot of torque. It's gonna give you economy too. It will get you out of that part where you're, doing a lot of that in and out of shifting into overdrive and so forth. And also, cool thing about Nitro Gear and Axle is all the stuff that comes in their kit. So you got bearings, crush sleeves, your races, your nuts, everything's there to make this swap really easy. Now, let's get this guy over.
All right, got you some Loctite.
All right, I'll show you a cool little trick. Learned not too long ago about putting your ring gear on.
I'll dab these guys real fast.
Give me a little there. Boop. Yeah, a little there.
Little badoop doop.
All right, so if you're by yourself at your house, watch out. You can, hypothetically, all right?
You can do it. You can do it.
Sight this guy up this way.
Yep.
Do a little one-hander.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Nothing. Sweet, man. All right, I came in just in time to do nothing.
So there you go.
One of the things I like about the Nitro Gear stuff is it's OE quality gears. They're done, with
Same facility, right?
high quality CNC stuff, the same, OEM heat treat. And what's great is a lot of these, or actually most of these, you can use the exact same shims because the quality is so tight, you don't have to go in there and re-shim them because things are shifting around. So we're going to give that a whirl. We're going to set it up with that stock shim. That's why we said it was so important to keep track. So,
super important, keep track of all your shims. Make sure you at least measure them, put them back. The new shims, the same size.
yeah, so let's get this ring gear zipped on. I got to get that bearing off the pinion from the old one so we can get the new bearing set pressed on, the right shim pack, and we're ready to assemble and check out our mesh.
Yes.
For more information about anything you've seen in today's show, check out gactv.com or visit TwoGuysGarage.com. This segment of Two Guys Garage is brought to you by You Coat It. Do-it-yourself floor coatings for a durable protective finish.
All right, welcome back. We got a ring and pinion going in. This guy's the pinion side here.
Yep.
We've got our shim. That's going to control the in and out location. And we've got a test bearing. So we wallowed out the ID. So it actually slides on here instead of press fitting on. So if we got to change shims, we don't have to mangle the bearing.
Yeah,
to do some adjustments.
That will save you a lot of steps.
Yeah, we got a crush washer here, so that spaces the two bearings. And when you really go for your final bolt down here, it'll crush down just to the right preload. And I'll slide this up in here for Willie.
Yeah, he's gonna send it that way. I got the oil slinger. And when we put a little pressure on our nut here, that's gonna set everything.
Right, so this guy will get set to the right preload. You're gonna make sure it has the right sort of friction. You can put a little inch-pound meter on it. When that's set, we can put our diff in, start checking it for gear mesh. Spin it, Willie, spin it, man.
All right.
Keep going, bro.
My boy Kev got all Bob Ross, painted up the ring gear. Now we're spinning it, checking it for patterns.
I made my little happy trees, my little happy bush.
Now you want to spin it both directions. Get a
messing
good
up
pattern.
my painting, man. It was looking so good.
Yeah.
All right, about there. That looks good. All right, come back around, man. Let's show them what we got. All right, first thing we did was set our backlash, right? And the biggest way to make that change is left to right by these shims. Well, we set up our dial indicator, click this thing back and forth. That's the mesh between the gears. We were right in the zone. So then we went to painting and spinning.
Right, and that's where Kev hit the ring gear with a bunch of just yellow indicator paint. We spin it, and it creates a pattern, either on this heel side, this toe side, or on the drive side or the coast side. We'll explain a little bit of that in a second, but this is the good stuff.
And I don't know how well you can see it on camera, but you can see a nice wear pattern. And the more you spin it, the more you're going to see that paint get taken off. But it's pretty well centered, and it's got a good depth to it, so I think we're pretty close.
Come on, dog.
That's right. So what do we got left, man?
Nothing. We got to hustle. Let's put this on. Actually, we'll take this back out, put the regular bearing back in it that we're supposed to have in it, button it up, and go hit the trail.
Button it up. That's what I was looking for, man. A little bit of fluid. Bang. All right, guys, we're going for the test drive.
Nice.
Now, we got lucky. Our gear pattern looked really good using the stock shims. That's all about quality gears right there.
Yeah, man.
But if your pattern's a little bit off, just check the charts. Shim one way or the other, you'll be dialed in too.
I know. Hey, man, you see any mud holes?
Well, hey, from this side, this thing feels awesome. How about you? You got control of that prop.
Yeah, I'll tell you right away, man. At 45, 50 miles an hour, it's not popping in and out of overdrive. So already a much smoother running truck.
Yeah, but I like the acceleration we had off that light.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're gonna go find some mud holes.
Yeah, we
You guys
are.
stick around, we'll be right back.
You know, the number one thing you can do to improve your stopping power is look at your pads. Make sure you have the right pads for your application. Now we're gonna look at this EVS friction line from Federated Auto Parts. Now the first thing you're gonna notice right out of the bat is the backing plate is powder coated, all right? Has precision milled backing plates, has multi-layered shims. You see the chamfers, you see the slot, just like you see in OE stuff. You know right out of the gate, just looking at it on visual inspection, you get a high quality pad. Now a couple other things to look at is the friction material itself, because it varies all over the world. Pads are made in different plants, different places, different countries, not at the EVS plant. It's an integrated factory using vehicle-specific material, like 100% non-asbestos organic, low metallic ceramic, or semi-metallic materials. Another thing you're gonna notice is that all the S pads are shrink wrapped. Yeah, it's something small, but very important. You don't want to get damaged in shipping. All right, the EVS friction line is available at Federated Auto Parts at Federated Car Care Center. Check them out. It's a great pad, great quality. Hey, welcome back. All right, now check out this from CRC Industries. It's the CRC Diesel One Tank Power Renew. Literally, you just pour it in your tank. One of these bottles lasts up to 4,000 miles.
Yeah, what it's going to do is clean your entire fuel system.
Right.
So injectors, like diesel engines, common rail, the injectors, they get a lot of deposits, they get sticky, your fuel flow goes south. So this will restore that, eat away a lot of that carbon deposits on your valves, on your piston top. So make your engine run better, get the fuel economy back, get the power back. From CRC, it's the One Tank Power Renew for diesel and for gasoline. If you're rolling around in a newer vehicle, or if you've got newer vehicles in your shop, they've all got TPMS systems, tire pressure monitoring. Now that's great because it's going to pick up fuel, it's a great safety device, but it comes with, you know, repair and maintenance.
Oh yeah, man. And the key to any good repair is good diagnostics. So the Bartec Tech 400 SD does just that. It's got all kinds of fault codes. It reads them really quick. It's got, you know, cables so you can hook up to a computer, print it out, give it to your customer and so forth. So it does, it accurately tells you exactly what's wrong with your TPMS system.
Yeah, now the first thing you're going to do, mount this next to the tire by your sensor. You're going to read and make sure the sensor is actually functioning, make sure it's the right one for the vehicle. Then you can look at codes, you can diagnose what the problems are. Like I said, you got to print out for your customer, and you can go right in there and repair whatever device. You can put a new one in, reprogram it for the vehicle so it knows what the new device is.
Yeah.
Really simple setup from Bartec. It's the Tech 400 SD.
Hey, when you're looking for a battery, make sure you get the right battery for your application, because you do have a lot of options. You have the starter battery, all right, and you have the high cycle battery. On the outside, they look the same. But if you're just caring about starting, you don't have a mini fridge, a theater system, stereos, surround sound, then you can get something like this if you're just worried about starting. But if you have all that, then this is your guy.
Yeah, this is your commercial cycling battery. It's built heavier duty. It's got, you know, stronger, thicker plates. They're bonded real well to the bottom, so they're super stout.
Yeah.
And they've got, you know, a different oxide in there that's a special compound for all that cycling. This is going to make your battery last a long time if you buy this style.
There you
So
go.
anything you need, you pick it up at Federated Auto Parts. Just let them know your application, what you're going to do with it, and they're going to make sure you get the right part.
Hey, you know what? Free heat is not such a bad thing.
Well, you know what? Staying warm and toasty in the winter, that's all right too.
Yeah, it's Lanier MX200 waste oil heater. So you dispose of all your old oil right in this guy right here, burn it, it's clean, and it keeps your shop nice and toasty.
Yeah, and if you think about it, waste oil, you've got to dispose it somewhere, recycle it. You've got to carry it, so that's additional fuel costs.
Yeah.
You've got liability on if there's any spills, it's your responsibility. But this makes life easy and toasty. I mean, you can't beat that.
No, man, your boys are always changing their oil at your shop. 215 gallons right here. You got enough to carry you for a while.
Yeah, that's the MX200 from Lanier.
All right, man. He's got shotgun. I got driver's seat. We're out of time.
How
We'll
about
see you
that,
later.
man? All right, we'll see you guys.